Welcome back to Satisfactory. Today we're going to look at two ways to make a vertical circle. They both use beams and end up looking like this. If you're interested in building horizontal circles, you can check out this video here. Thanks for watching. The first method I would call the Pobcac method because he's the first creator I saw doing this tutorial video when I first started playing. This method works best when the circle diameter is divisible by 8, which is the length of two beams. And I'll show you why. All diameters are achievable, they just have an extra step. So here's the method. You start with the center point. Also, this is best done in a blueprint designer, so you just have to do each size once. So we'll do a 16-meter inner diameter for the example. In default mode, draw out a 16-meter beam in the 4 directions. Explain that these first 4 can be done in default mode, and the beams can be placed at the ends because of the fact that these are exact 8 meters. So those are our bases. Now we want to go build mode. So now we go R, let's just go freeform, I think. Now you want to connect at the edge of each, and you can do them one at a time. I've just gotten in the habit of doing them in multiples, but you see that number 8062? The beam is extending past that 8-meter length, so now we can't place the beam at the end, the pillar, because then if you look at the bottom you see how it's sticking out a little too much, so you want to go from the inside, zoop it out, so you're zooping out the 1, then the 2 of that, and then there. And you delete the extras. Now you're left with that slight overlap, and we're going to continue all the way around until that makes a circle. I'll time-lapse a bunch of this, because it's the same thing over and over and over again. And just continue. But again, you always want to be extending out from that middle. And you'll notice because we're extending out from that middle, we keep getting that 8062. If you weren't doing that, you'd start getting bigger and bigger numbers each time. If you want to make a smaller circle, it's better to actually, instead of going to the inside point of the last beam, it's better to come to the outside point of the last beam here, and then that'll split the difference. It'll make a smaller arc than this method we're showing is. And I can show here, this is the smallest one you can make with this method. I made this little multi-tiered window, and that's how I did that. This is what it would look like from the inside spots. That's only 5 sections for the half circle, whereas here you get more than that. So important to note. Now there's no perfect answer here. I guess what I would do here is I would extend this one. Now we have the placeholder for that one, and then we can come in here and get that exact 8062 on the one next to it. Then we bring that out, delete the guides, bring this one back in. That's how I'd get the final. So we'll do that for all the sides. And again, we're just doing that so that we can get that edge easily. Alright, and that's the finished product. And what is there to note? I guess I usually keep the middle beam just to help me guide in whatever avenue I'm going to use this for once I save it as a blueprint. What else? Oh, I mentioned that you could do different size besides the 4 meter. You know, you're going by 4 meters on all these, but there is a way. So this is just the regular connection point to a pillar, but if you hold control, you can actually go up and down the pillar in 1 meter increments, and you can rotate in, I believe, 10 meter increments. So what are we going to do there? So if you wanted, like we said, this was a 8 meter inner radius. You could always go, say, 9 meter inner radius. And the reason I said there would be an extra step is that that step is now this. So you'd want to do this on every one of these points. And then when you're done with that, you would just delete your guide from your base 4-meter circle shapes. And then also you can take this method into 3 dimensions. I won't go into that. It's a very similar method. It's just extra axes. But I do have a video on it. It's the first in the blueprint playlist. I'll link it. I'll link it at the end of the video with the how to circle video. Alright, let's save that one and look at the second method. This second method I just learned this month from BismorBismorBismor on the Satisfactory subreddit. I'll link his tutorial in the description. His method uses a guide beam in the middle and a backboard of walls. He goes click by click around the wall's perimeter, but I adjusted that here. Start with the default straight beam, the length you want your circle radius. Place a beam connector on the end. Now press RR to get the beam in freeform mode. Pick a spot anywhere on the back wall. That will make the beam connector overlap the next connector. Place the beam. Now select the beam connector and place the connector at the same length out from center. You're going to repeat this process all the way around the circle. I did it this way rather than the Bismor way around the square perimeter, so I would have more control on the connector overlaps and just hopefully get a more even distribution. But both methods work. It's very easy to start incorporating these into your designs. You can use these connectors as attach points for pillars or beams, or even beams with signs uses lights, which is what I'm doing here in the desert. And as a side tip, signs can be placed in any direction and rotated by placing them on a beam instead of a wall. And then just to note, these circle blueprints can now easily be modified into things like doorways and tunnels or whatever other curves you need. This is just a clip of me building the layered window to show you how you can use control on the different sides of a beam. You can shift angles and links with the control button. It's very handy when working with the pillars. That's about it. Thanks for watching. Come check out our Discord. Free blueprints, including these circles. We've got lots of great builders in here. See you soon.